Hello everybody and welcome back for the weekly VR news. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today we're going to discuss how we just had one of the best months in VR's history, especially since April is generally a very slow time for VR, but it looks like things are going to heat up even more as lots of new players are entering the XR industry. But on the opposite side of that, we have just seen a series of layoffs and potentially the worst policy I've ever seen coming from Meta. So today we'll go over all of that, plus all of the new game announcements, updates, and this week's new releases. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but let's start things off like normal with the check-in. Okay, so first up, the elephant in the room, the fact that I am missing facial hair. This is the first time I've shaved my face in 10 years. I did it for reasons. That doesn't matter, but don't worry guys, it's growing back and I'll be back to normal soon. I don't like it either. But this is 2 days of stubble. I shaved it Friday, it's currently Sunday, so just give it another week or two and we'll be back to normal. Now on top of that, I have to say that the past week has been absolutely insane. Not even the past week, the past month. I did my 100 top favorite VR games, and after this month, I already need to update it. We had Hitman VR, which we finally, after 4 attempts, got a solid Hitman game. We got Vestiges, which is a trading card strategy game that I really enjoyed. But on top of that, Ghost Town absolutely blew me away. The regular flat screen gaming industry, we have crazy stuff going on too, like that huge Baldur's Gate 3 update. Oblivion came out of nowhere. It has been a wild time, and I'm sure I'm missing a few things, guys. But VR has been absolutely amazing lately, and I'm blown away. I'm just living in my headset. It's been fantastic. So if you guys need any updates on what games you should play, check out my top 100 games that just came out recently. I have reviews on all of those other titles, and that one title I missed, I knew there was something else, is the Vertigo 2 DLC. That is also fantastic. So guys, I'm just pumped for VR again. Every once in a while, we know how it goes, the cycle. VR is amazing. It's getting dull. It's amazing. It's getting dull. We're in that like surprisingly amazing. Like I said, April's normally lame, and this year it's been great. So not wasting any more of your time, I'm just playing lots of games. That's my update. Let's get into this week's new releases though. Unfortunately on that front though, this is a slow week, which doesn't matter because like I said, there's so many new games available to play right now. And on that note, I just want to start off by mentioning an upcoming VR MMO that I'm going to be covering this week. Eldramoor Haven in the Mist is still fairly early in development, but the development team that includes members from Orbis VR and Zenith were kind enough to give me a tour of their project. So make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on if you're into VR MMOs. But moving back to new games that you could pick up right now, we have a small handful of new releases. First up, the construction simulator Dig is making its way to PSVR. Dig will allow you to control an array of heavy machinery in both a single player campaign and sandbox modes. It's designed to be both realistic, but also a bit arcadey, so you won't need to go out and get a license to know how to operate these machines. Now, Dig previously released for the Meta Quest and does have some solid reviews, so if you're a PSVR gamer waiting on this one, now's your time. And on the topic of games moving to new platforms, we just found out that the absolutely stunning mixed reality experience Walltown Wonders is coming to both Steam VR and the PlayStation VR 2. Now, if you're not familiar with Walltown Wonders, it comes from the same studio that gave us another beautiful title, Hubris. Rather than going the action first-person shooter route again, they jumped into mixed reality with a life sim city builder. Now, I'm really happy to see this experience moving on to new platforms, but with both PC VR and PlayStation VR 2 lacking a good pass-through mode, I'm wondering how they're going to pull this one off, or if they're just going to go full VR instead. Well, I guess we'll find out on May 7th when this releases. Now, sticking with mixed reality, we just got the release date for Loop 1 Done. Loop 1 Done is a sandbox factory building experience. The goal is to turn your real-life living space into one giant factory that will continue to grow as you increase production. I gotta say, it's not my style, but it looks really cool, and I definitely have to give this one a try. I love the concept of all these quirky little machines running throughout my house, and me being the only person who could see and control them from inside my VR headset. But if that's just not enough game for you, we also got the release date for the new puzzler, Echoes of the Sun. Coming to PSVR on May 14th, you'll take on the role of Mia, a teenage girl who witnessed her homeland destroyed by an exploding sun. Well, now it's up to her and her ability to solve some puzzles to set things right and restore the world. Again, puzzlers are not my go-to genre, but I just love the release of Ghost Town, so I'll definitely keep an open mind on this one. Now moving into game updates, the early access release of Into the Radius 2 just received a bunch of new content. There's a new location called the Ghost Town to explore, there's new weapons and attachments, the progression system has been overhauled, and there's numerous bug fixes and tweaks. Now the original Into the Radius is an absolute cult classic, and I'm happy to see the sequel is coming along nicely. Now if you're a sucker for VR immersion, the extra creepy exploration title Pools is getting PSVR support next month and also coming to the PlayStation VR 2 at a later date. Now, if you're not familiar with Pools, the flat screen version has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and it delivers an experience similar to the creepiness you get from the Backrooms type of games. It's just this really creepy pool-filled world to explore that almost sort of triggers that uncanny valley type of experience, where in the back of your mind you know things just aren't right. Now, if you already own the flat screen version, the VR upgrade is free, and if you want to check it out to find out more, there is a demo currently available. And last up in the update news, Alien Rogue Incursion patch 1.02 is now available for the MetaQuest 3. Not only does this include a series of bug fixes, but there's also some performance optimizations and updates to the visual effects. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed my Alien Rogue Incursion experience on the PlayStation VR 2, but it was hard to get that same level of enjoyment on the Quest 3, mainly due to the performance issues, but also because the graphics were so much less impressive, and this is a title where you really want to see those high fidelity graphics. Now, a standalone device will never match a PC or a console, but I'm glad to see it's still improving. And speaking of things improving, it's absolutely insane to see how quick we go from new release to VR mod these days. Unless you've been living under a rock, you would know that Bethesda surprise dropped a remastered version of the beloved Oblivion. Well, about 8 seconds after that game officially released, people were already playing it in VR thanks to UEVR. Now, like normal with the Universal Mod Injector, it is far from perfect, but it's also pretty incredible to re-experience this world from that perspective. So if you needed one more reason to pick up this game, there you go, guys. You can now try it out in VR, just don't expect to get an experience similar to Skyrim with 6,000 mods. Now, before we get into today's main topic, we need to discuss a meta policy that has popped up on Reddit that is absolutely ridiculous. Recently, an email has popped up online stating that Meta is going to delete a user's account in the next 60 days due to inactivity. Now, this was a father that posted it about his son's account. And I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I enjoy doing that. One, it's ridiculous that due to inactivity, Meta would just delete your account, all your games, all your save files, every purchase you've made. That's pretty ridiculous. And I know that's the world we live in these days, but you don't see that from Steam and other companies. At the same time, though, there are some global laws in place for consumer protection rights that say a company can't hold on to your data indefinitely. They can only hold on to it as long as it makes sense. So if you're inactive, you're not using a Meta account at all, not just your Quest, you're not using your Meta account at all, or your Facebook, your Instagram, any of those combined accounts, your account is basically dead. Yeah, they set a threshold on when to delete it because of those consumer laws in other countries. A little different in the US, but generally companies need to abide by global laws. And I dealt with this in my past industry in the IT world, and it's fun. It's a fun time. So I can understand why there's a need for this. And they are giving a 60-day period for someone to just log back in. So that's not insane, but this is crazy. I mean, there's plenty of reasons why someone would not want to use a Meta account and have a Quest and really enjoy their Quest, but due to life circumstances, going away to college, whatever the case may be, it sits idle for a couple months. So it's crazy and it sucks that something like this exists, but I think it goes deeper than just the Meta is trying to force you to get back into the headset or force you to use their stuff by, holding the whip above you going, you better get back in there or we're taking away all your stuff. I think it's a little bit more complex than that. So, and I'm not trying to be a defender of Meta here. As someone who worked in IT for 24 years, I get an understanding of these consumer regulations, and I've had to delete user data after time also. So it sucks. It shouldn't exist. There should be like something to make it easier that you just notify Meta, no, I want this to stay on for at least like the maximum amount you could. But whatever the case may be, it was just a crappy story and I felt like it had to be mentioned. But let's jump back to a little bit more good news, which is more players getting into the VR industry. We keep hearing, oh, VR is dead. We did just get a round of layoffs from Meta, which included people from their best studio ever, Sinzaru, which made Asgard's Wrath. Okay, maybe I'm stretching it, best studio ever, but one of my favorite studios ever, Sinzaru, did get some people laid off. And we see that Reality Labs, which is, you know, the VR sector, they cut off like 100 employees, which again does suck, but we knew Meta's overall objective. Again, I sound like a Meta apologist here, but if you've been following, we knew they're going to cut back on the VR center on the game development side and move more into XR and wearables and Horizon Worlds for whatever reason. So it's not a shocker. And if you look at the game industry as a whole, things are just crazy flux right now. You have Larian Studios just like calling everybody losers because they made such a great game, didn't do microtransactions, supported it for free, did everything right. And they're just like, this is possible in the industry. And you have those companies that have just been looking for the payouts for years, the publishers like EA and stuff, and they're all going down. And people are like, I don't understand what's going on. It's like, no, make a good game and people will buy it. End of story. So this flux is normal. Now, I know I'm about 3 seconds away of being called a complete meta shill, and that's why I'm stopping right here to give the PlayStation VR 2 a lot of credit. I've done plenty of pooping on this system, mainly because I wanted Sony to be more involved and I wanted lots of first-party IPs, but it's just not financially viable for the company. On the opposite side though, the third-party industry has been doing a great job with the PlayStation VR 2. They're banging out solid title after solid title. I really enjoyed Arcane Age, Alien Rogue Incursion, and I'm still playing through Hitman, which is absolutely fantastic. The level of third-party support the system is getting has surpassed my expectations, but I will remind you guys, my issue has never been with the hardware itself. It was just always more of a frustration that Sony gave up on this product. And I just want to finish off with why I'm pumped about the future of XR, mainly because so many new people are getting into the industry. Listen, we've heard VR is dead for 10 years now. Stop with that noise. It's bigger than ever. It keeps growing. Yes, there's shifts. Yes, there's ups and downs. But the fact that there's like at least 4 new players getting into the industry in the near future says it all. And one is Apple. They're going to be making a cheaper Apple Vision Pro. We know that's coming maybe this year, maybe next year. The Deckard, if all the leaks and rumors are true, which I believe they are, we're going to see the Deckard by the end of this year. We have Samsung coming out with their Android XR, and we have the Play for Dream. There's also Google has new glasses coming out. There's lots of stuff which shows people believe in the industry. And even Snapchat says, listen, we got to get into this whole AR industry. And they're the right player for the job. I mean, they've always had a lot of those cool overlays and stuff like that. And being able to put on glasses and, you know, just plaster a smile onto someone's face, no matter what they're doing, would be hilarious. You know, any of those quirky little effects would be great with a pair of glasses. You could go around just reshaping life the way you want it to be. Put a smile on everyone's face, make everyone cry, laugh, whatever. That dopey stuff, that would be a lot of fun. So I am pumped, guys. I hope you are too. Like I said, we just had an insane April. April is normally the worst month ever when it comes to VR. I had low expectations going in, and then banger after banger, Ghost Town, all these games were great. Hitman, Vertigo 2 DLC. It's been a fantastic month. I am pumped, guys. I hope you are too. If you enjoyed this, thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, I'll see you guys on next time.